Revealed, 7 miraculous secrets to manifest your divine blessings and heavenly answered prayers. In the quaint village of Honeywood, nestled amid lush, rolling hills, a wave of fervent prayer began to rise from the old stone church. The villagers had gathered, hands clasped and hearts united, chanting softly, their voices blending like notes in a divine symphony, begging for a miracle. The air shimmered with faith, the walls seemed to pulsate with an otherworldly presence, whispering promises of healing. Sarah Kingston, a devoted mother and beloved teacher at the village church school, found her world teetering at the brink of despair as her precious son, Daniel, fell gravely ill. Once filled with laughter, their home echoed with silence, replaced by the anguished cries of a mother fighting for hope. Amidst her sorrow, whispers of doubt entered the hearts of her neighbors. Could prayer truly work? Was it enough? The comforting embrace of faith began to feel more like a distant memory, shadowed by fear and uncertainty. Each evening, the village came together to pray for Daniel, filling the church with hope. The flickering candlelight cast moving shadows on the stone walls, creating a sanctuary of intimacy. But in the corners of her heart, Sarah felt a dark heaviness, an unsettling question gnawing at her spirit. When a forgotten book caught her eye in the dusty church library, a worn text that promised 7 miraculous secrets. Its pages held ancient wisdom, the words glowing softly as if beckoning her to delve deeper. The first secret was radiant gratitude and opening of the heart. As she embraced this, Sarah felt warmth spreading through her, igniting a flicker of hope. Then came the second, fervent prayer, not just for herself but for her community, reminding her of the power in numbers. With each secret she embraced, she felt the chains of despair loosening, the burdens felt lighter. Could they truly unlock divine blessings? But just as the fog began to lift, the doctor delivered the news that sent her heart crashing. Daniel's condition worsened, and time was slipping away. As she knelt in prayer that night, desperate for a sign, Sarah poured out her heart with tears streaming down her face. Suddenly, the world around her faded, and she found herself enveloped in dazzling light. A saintly figure emerged, illuminating her surroundings. "Faith transforms," the figure whispered, igniting a spark within her. The revelation filled her with courage, an undeniable truth that blossomed with every heartbeat. Rising from her prayerful reverie, Sarah was aglow with newfound determination. Her mission was clear: share this miraculous encounter. Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now, let's continue. The next evening, she recounted her divine dream to the villagers, and something extraordinary happened. Hearts that had once wrestled with skepticism began to shift. Testimonies of healing began to sweep through Honeywood, igniting hope. Miracles were unfolding before their very eyes, a renewed sense of community, a unified spirit calling out for divine grace. Yet, as joy began to weave through the fabric of the village, worry lingered like an unwelcome shadow in Sarah's heart. What if this newfound faith faltered? What if Daniel's time was running out? Torn between anxiety and hope, she could feel the pressing urgency of prayer as she gazed at the flickering candles. Would their collective belief, ignited by her revelation, be enough to summon forth the miracle they longed for? Their breaths held, the village awaited wisps of prayer whispering through the night, but would the dawn reveal the answer they so yearned for? As the first light of dawn broke over Honeywood, it painted the village in hues of gold. The air was crisp and filled with a divine energy, yet Sarah Kingston still felt the weight of uncertainty heavy on her shoulders. She stood at her window, watching the sun rise slowly, each ray a reminder of hope but also of the ticking clock. Time was fragile, and Daniel needed a miracle. With her heart racing, Sarah decided to do something bold. She gathered the villagers again, inviting them all to the church for a community day of prayer, a day dedicated to purging their doubts and strengthening their unity. The plan was beyond just praying for Daniel. It was about reaffirming their faith in the divine and supporting one another. Upon entering the church, Sarah felt an outpouring of love and hope fill the sacred space. People smiled, greeted one another warmly, creating a tapestry interwoven with threads of faith. It was as if the very walls of the church were wrapping around them like a warm embrace, igniting a flicker of that divine spark she had encountered in her vision. "Today, we need to uplift one another," she called out, her voice steady yet filled with passionate conviction. "Let us pour our hearts into prayer, not just for one soul, but for all of us, for our village, for our families, and for every ounce of hope that exists within us." As the villagers joined hands and bowed their heads, a profound silence enveloped the room. Sarah led the prayer, her voice unwavering as she called for healing, strength, and unshakable faith. Each prayer rose together, forming a tapestry woven with hopes and dreams, a beautiful symphony echoing through the heavens. In that moment, Sarah felt a jolt of inspiration. She remembered the remaining secrets nestled in that old book. The third secret was sharing the burden. She realized that in voicing their fears together, they could unburden their hearts and strengthen their faith. So she invited everyone to share their own challenges, turning the prayer meeting into a sacred circle, fostering openness and vulnerability. One by one, villagers shared their burdens: an ailing spouse, a struggling farmer, a lost job. Each confession felt like a tiny weight lifted. With every shared sigh, with every tear that fell, Sarah sensed an escalating energy in the room. Hope blossomed in the collective heart of Honeywood. Their souls knitted closer together, bridging gaps long lost to loneliness or doubt. But just as the atmosphere began to radiate warmth and healing, the church bell tolled, harsh and jarring, pulling Sarah out of her reverie. The stark reality of Daniel's condition crashed back over her. She felt a moment of despair threaten to creep in, threatening to unravel the threads of hope they'd so carefully woven. Panic clawed at her heart. What if this wasn't enough? Then, when Sarah thought all hope was lost, she heard a gentle whisper in the quiet corners of her spirit. Every seed of faith can grow into a mighty tree. It was a reminder she needed, urging her to remember the power of collective prayer and belief. As the villagers continued praying, a distant noise echoed through the air, a soft yet unmistakable sound of voices converging on the edge of hope, up the hill. Hearts pounded in unison, eyes began to raise, and faith ignited in their chests once more. Could it be? Was it another miracle unfolding before them? Sarah felt her heart race, anticipation bubbling up within her. The moment of truth was upon them, and destiny awaited just outside the door. What awaited them? As the whispers of hope drew nearer, Sarah felt her knees go weak. A mix of dread and excitement surged through her. Could it really be Daniel? Or was it a trick of the wind, stirring false hopes in her heart? The villagers shifted, eyes now wide and expectant. With each second that passed, the sound of the voices grew louder. It was a melody of laughter, intermingled with tears, bright rays of joy spilling into the solemn interior of the church. Sarah stepped toward the door, heart pounding like a drum, beckoning her spirit to leap into the unknown. "Is it him?" murmured a young boy next to her, clutching his mother's hand tightly. "Will he come through that door?" "Let us see," Sarah replied, forcing a smile that she hoped would ease the apprehensions threading through the crowd. Together, they took a collective breath, and she pushed open the heavy wooden doors. A wave of sunlight rushed in, illuminating the figure standing on the threshold. Daniel. Hope pierced the air like a bolt of lightning. He stood, looking weaker but undeniably alive, surrounded by the familiar faces of townsfolk. Sarah's heart soared, and tears streamed down her cheeks as the weight on her chest began to lift. "God has answered our prayers," she breathed, her voice trailing off as the sheer enormity of the moment seeped into her being. The world seemed to stutter to a halt, allowing everyone the space to embrace this miracle, the miracle of life and community. Daniel stepped forward slowly, each movement deliberate. I felt you all praying for me, he spoke softly, his voice breaking. It reached me in my darkest hours. Your faith, it pulled me back. The villagers erupted in a chorus of joy. Shouts of praise filled the air, intertwining with laughter and sobs as arms enveloped Daniel, welcoming him home. It was an overwhelming rush of love, each hug, each tear, a testament to the bond they all shared. As the euphoria settled into a tender warmth, Sarah stepped back, gazing at Daniel with a mixture of relief and gratitude. Yet, even amid such bliss, a flicker of uncertainty remained. Was this the end, or merely the beginning of another journey? Shall we hear what you experienced? She began, her voice steady. What happened in those dark hours, Daniel? How did your faith help you find your way back to us? He paused, looking down as if searching his memories. The joy radiating from the villagers didn't dull the shadows clinging to him, though. It was as if I was in the valley of the shadow of death. I couldn't see a way out. But in those moments, he glanced up, meeting her eyes. I felt a presence, a light. It was your prayers. You all were with me, guiding me through. Sarah's heart fluttered at his words, and she recognized that this was not merely a happy ending, but a call to deeper understanding. They had witnessed the power of prayer, yet what more was there to discover? In the swirling emotions of that moment, she was reminded, the journey doesn't end here. Each miracle brings with it a new purpose. Their unity had been their strength, but what lay ahead could hold more secrets, more revelations. As the evening sun sank lower, painting the sky in rich purples and pinks, Sarah gathered the congregation for one last prayer to thank God, yes, but also to seek guidance for their next steps. Together we grow, she encouraged, raising her voice once more, a spark of renewed commitment igniting in her heart. What mysteries awaited them in this newfound chapter of faith? Would the path forward reveal even deeper wonders? There was no telling what divine lessons lay ahead in the embrace of their collective journey. The gathering deepened as the sun melted into the horizon, casting long shadows within the church. Daniel stood at the center, still enveloped in the hugs and voices filled with praise. Yet, behind that gratitude lay a restlessness. Sarah sensed it in the air, a divine tension, pregnant with unspoken questions. As quiet settled over the congregation, Sarah raised her hands, beckoning them to stillness. Let us seek his guidance. Her voice rang out with an urgency that snapped the villagers' attention. We prayed for Daniel's return, and God has delivered. Let us now pray for clarity, for his will to be revealed to us as we move forward. They bowed their heads, and an air of reverential quiet cloaked the room, thick with expectation. The candles flickered, casting flickering shadows that danced like whispers of the Holy Spirit. In that fragile moment, a sense of communion fluttered, lacing through the hearts of everyone present. Lord, Sarah began, her heart pounding. We thank you for the miracle of Daniel's return. We know this is just the beginning. Open our eyes to what lies ahead. What is your purpose for us? A soft breeze wafted through the open doors, rustling the pages of a nearby hymn book. It felt like a gentle affirmation. Daniel suddenly took a step forward, the weight of his journey etched into his expression. When I was lost, I saw visions of faces, your faces. There was one image that stood bright above them all. A light, a glowing figure. He hesitated, wiping a tear from his cheek. I think it was an angel, sent to guide me. I couldn't always hear your prayers, but I felt the love behind them. A murmur rustled through the crowd, reverence stretching across the gathering like an unseen thread. Their faith stirred at the mention of divine protection. What if there is more? Sarah pressed gently. What if we could uncover those angels in our own lives, those moments of guidance that bring us closer to our purpose? Could we learn to recognize them, to act on the whispers of love and hope God offers us? Yes! A voice chimed from the back, a call of courage that ignited a ripple of agreement. God has more for us than we understand, another added, and the murmurs turned into a resounding affirmation. Daniel smiled, his spirit buoyed. Each of us has a part to play. And together, we're stronger. There's a calling for us as a community, a mission that intertwines our journeys in faith. As their voices rose, the atmosphere grew electric. Sarah felt it in the marrow of her bones, a stirring as if the very winds of heaven were guiding their thoughts. "Tonight, let us commit ourselves to this journey together," she proposed, her voice steady. "Let us open our hearts and minds to God's revelations. What if we could not only pray but also take action? What if we could witness miracles in our everyday lives?" With renewed purpose pulsing through the congregation, they lit candles, each flame representing a prayer, a desire to follow this new guidance, a soft glow against the encroaching darkness of doubt. As they gathered around the altar, heads bowed in unison, the sacred silence broke with wisdom unlike any they had heard before. A feeling of assurance washed over them, and Sarah felt a warmth grow in her heart. "Believe," Daniel said, his voice rich with conviction, "that what we uncover together will change our lives. Together, we will find those miraculous secrets." Suddenly, as if on cue, a distant rumble echoed like thunder outside, shaking the old stones of the church. Whispers of awe floated among them, and Daniel paused, glancing toward the door as the winds began to swirl violently outside. "What is happening?" someone asked, unease creeping in. "We must seek his light." "The journey has just begun," Sarah responded, feeling the weight of destiny pressing, almost tangibly, about them. What else lay in wait beyond that door? What miraculous truths were they being led toward, and would they be ready to embrace them? The wind howled like an ancient voice, echoing both fear and courage within the hearts of the villagers. Sarah's brow furrowed as she shared a glance with Daniel. Their spirits were as intertwined as the vines that clung to the old stone walls of the church. "What if this is a sign?" Daniel whispered, an incandescence in his eyes. "What if God is calling us to step outside and witness a revelation, to break the chains of comfort and walk in faith? Might we find the angels there?" Sarah wondered aloud, her heart racing. She turned to the congregation, vulnerability etched into her expression. "This could be the moment we prayed for a divine unveiling of our paths." A ripple of anticipation swept through the gathering, and as they exchanged encouraging nods, the atmosphere crackled like a high-tension line. The flickering candles cast warm, dancing light amidst the darkening skies, their small flames seemingly beckoning the community to remain vigilant. "Let us step forward together," Daniel urged, his voice resonating with exhortation. "I can feel God's presence urging us out of these doors, permeating the very air we breathe." With collective resolve, the church members joined hands, forming a chain of faith. As they approached the entrance, the wind gusted stronger, as if acknowledging their intent. Sarah felt the breath of the Spirit rush in, guiding her feet. They emerged into the open air, standing before the threshold of the storm. The sky was alive, flashes of light illuminating the restless clouds. It was a surreal interplay of shadow and shimmer. "Look!" a child exclaimed, pointing skyward. "The clouds, they're moving like they're dancing." Indeed, the clouds swirled and parted, revealing a radiant glow that pierced the darkness. It was mesmerizing, a vivid promise that carried the essence of hope. "What do you see?" Sarah called out, encouraging her fellow believers to share the visions bursting forth within them. "I see pathways of light," one villager shouted, eyes wide with awe. "They're leading us to something extraordinary. A covenant," declared another voice. "A sign of God's unbreakable promise." The air thrummed with excitement, every heart eager to engage with the divine invitation laid before them. Sarah took a deep breath, feeling the spiritual cadence that filled the space around them. Beyond fear was a vibrant life waiting to be embraced. "Tonight is about unveiling our souls, our dreams, and the community we build together," she said, her voice rising above the wind. "What if God isn't just revealing secrets to us, but also entrusting us with the knowledge of our collective purpose to bring His light into the world?" With that, they raised their hands to the heavens, surrendering their doubts and fears. The collective prayer rose like incense, a fragrant offering that soared into the night. Each heartbeat resonated with the cries of their hopes, weaving a tapestry of unity. In that moment, a flash of brilliant light erupted from the sky, illuminating everything in a breathtaking glow. Sarah gasped, tears streaming down her cheeks as the brilliance revealed something beyond their wildest dreams. Clarity washed over her, a tangible sense of direction enveloped them like a warm embrace. But as quickly as it arrived, the light faded, leaving only the echo of its warmth and the faint whisper that remained in the air. The villagers collectively held their breath, sensing that they had just skimmed the surface of something profound. "What did we see?" someone whispered, curiosity dancing in their eyes. "What will we find as we journey deeper?" replied Daniel, equally captivated by the divine mystery that unfolded before them. What awaited them in this quest for understanding? What additional layers of divine revelations were ready to be uncovered as they continued to press forward? The air, thick with anticipation, seemed to pulse like a heartbeat as the villagers stood awestruck, the echoes of their prayer still lingering like sweet incense. Sarah wiped the tears from her face, feeling a blend of joy and sorrow, joy for what was revealed and sorrow for the fleeting nature of that divine light. Could it be? She murmured, half to herself, half to the gathering. Could we have touched the edge of heaven? Daniel stepped forward, his brow lined with determination. "This is not the end, but a beginning," he said, his voice steady. "We've been given a glimpse, but now we must seek to understand. How will we walk in this truth? What steps can we take?" A hush fell over the crowd. Each villager looked at one another, pondering the implications of the celestial encounter. Reverence filled the air, thickening the atmosphere as they contemplated the weight of their experience. "Perhaps this light is a confirmation of hope," someone said, breaking the silence, a nudge towards faith in the unknown. "Yes!" Sarah felt her spirit lift. "We have seen the divine invitation, now we must step boldly into our calling. Let us not turn back, but embrace every possibility before us." The wind sighed around them, and as if on cue, a gentle warmth spread from the center of their group. They turned their heads, and there in the distance a shadowy figure emerged from the depths of the night, cloaked in a shimmering robe. Soft laughter wafted through the air, like a melody that soothed their hearts. "Fear not," the figure spoke in a voice that was both calming and filled with authority. "You have not only seen, but been seen. Every prayer, every longing has been woven into the fabric of this moment." Gasps of astonishment erupted, eyes widened in recognition. Some dropped to their knees, while others remained transfixed, captivated by the celestial presence before them. "What are your intentions?" Daniel's boldness grew. "What does this mean for us?" "The light you saw reveals the path ahead. You stand at a crossroads of divine potential," the figure explained, eyes blazing like suns. "But the choice is yours. Will you undertake the sacred journey to unveil the 7 miraculous secrets that dwell in the depths of God's heart?" As those words hung in the air, the villagers felt the weight of the promise. The wind whispered, and the clouds danced above them, their swirling forms reflecting the inner turmoil and excitement within each soul present. A woman stepped forward, her spirit ignited by the idea. "Together, we can uncover these secrets. We can cultivate blessings not just for ourselves, but for our community." "Yes!" echoed another voice. "Imagine what we could accomplish, how our faith could flourish and bear fruit." With every heartbeat, an energy swelled around them, drawing them even closer. The figure gestured, and at that moment, the very atmosphere changed. The energy vibrated with possibility. "Prepare yourselves," the figure advised, a smile illuminating their face. "For the journey will require not only faith but courage. What lies ahead is shrouded in mystery, but trust in God's guidance will light your way." As the shimmering figure began to fade, a collective sense of urgency filled the air. Questions emerged, swirling like the clouds above them. What transformations awaited them? What would they discover in forging ahead? Sarah felt a fire ignite within her, a sense of purpose that urged her onward. "Let us go forth," she declared, her eyes bright with passion. "Together, we will grasp these revelations and share them with others." The villagers looked to one another, faces lit with determination, united in their quest for understanding and revelation. They took a step forward, hearts ready to embrace the journey that awaited them. But a new question lingered in the air, shimmering like the last remnants of the divine light. What trials would they face on this path? What extraordinary blessings lay in wait? With those unsettling thoughts drifting in their hearts, they pushed onward into the unknown, a tapestry of hope woven into their destinies. The morning sun broke through the tendrils of night, casting golden beams upon the village as if heaven itself was showering them with its blessing. The villagers gathered once more, their hearts pulsating with eager anticipation for what lay ahead. Sarah stood at the forefront, her thoughts racing. "Today begins our pursuit of the first secret," she declared, her voice steady, a beacon of light for those around her. "We must approach this journey with pure hearts and open minds. The divine desires to reveal abundance to those willing to seek." Daniel stepped beside her, a hand resting reassuringly on her shoulder. "But we must remember, with each secret, God may test our faith. The way is not always easy." "Are we ready?" "Ready," came the enthusiastic response from the crowd, a chorus of voices united in conviction. It was more than mere words, it was a commitment to dive deeper into the well of divine mystery. The wind whipped gently around them, rustling the leaves and carrying whispers of encouragement, as if nature itself was affirming their resolve. An increasing warmth enveloped the villagers, urging them forward, urging them to embrace the unknown that lay before them. "Let us begin," Sarah suggested, her heart racing in both excitement and a hint of trepidation. "Let us move towards the sacred grove. I feel there is a promise waiting for us there." With each step they took, the anticipation grew. The atmosphere shimmered, charged with energy, guiding them towards their destination. As the villagers entered the grove, the sun's rays danced through the branches, illuminating a forgotten altar veiled in vines. "What is this place?" Daniel whispered, his eyes wide with wonder, scanning the ancient stones that supported the altar. "It feels sacred," another voice breathed, filled with awe. Sarah approached the altar, tracing her fingers over the worn edges. Could this be a forgotten remnant of our ancestors? A place where divine encounters once flourished? Suddenly, a breeze surged, and the energy within the grove thickened. The villagers felt a presence enveloping them in warmth. "Gather around," Sarah beckoned. "Let us unite in prayer, seeking clarity and insight. There is something here for us." Kneeling, the villagers joined hands, their hearts synchronized in faith. Sarah's voice rose, rippling outwards like a wave. "Dear Lord, guide us as we seek to unveil the first miraculous secret. May our hearts remain open to hear your call." As they prayed, the wind swirled with intensity, and the atmosphere vibrated, charged with a power that felt alive. A faint glimmer appeared at the altar's center, growing clearer with each heartbeat. Slowly, a soft voice whispered from the depths of the grove. "The first secret is love, the foundation upon which all miracles are built. Without love, no blessing can flow. Seek to embody love in every action." The villagers gasped, their hearts expanding with revelation. Love, simple yet profound, the essence of every divine encounter. Sarah's eyes sparkled with realization. This is where we must start. To unlock the next secrets, we must immerse ourselves in love toward one another and our community. Excitement rippled through the crowd, but also a weightiness. Love required commitment. It would challenge them. Will we be truly ready for this? Someone murmured, reflecting the apprehensions brewing within them. Rather, let our hearts be willing to embrace the challenge, Daniel encouraged, his voice resonating with conviction. Let love be our foundation, our guiding light. With renewed purpose, the villagers arose from their knees, a shared understanding that their journey had merely begun. They felt the pulse of divine promise in their hearts, a call to action echoing through the grove. As they stepped back from the altar, a question shimmered in their minds, an echo of the voice they had heard. What manifestations of love would they discover as they continued onward? And as the light from the grove beckoned them into the next chapters of their journey, the villagers understood they must prepare. The unfolding of divine love awaited, but how would they choose to demonstrate it in their lives? As the villagers stepped away from the altar, a gentle hush fell over the grove, the kind that invites a deeper reflection. In that sacred silence, Sarah felt a stirring within her heart. The voice they had heard echoed in her mind. Love was the secret, but how would they translate this divine revelation into action? "We've been given our first lesson," she addressed the group, her voice calm yet charged with fervor. "Love is more than just a word. It is our calling. We need to show it through our deeds." The faces that turned to her reflected a tapestry of emotions: curiosity, eagerness, and a slight tremor of fear. It was as if they were being asked to step out onto a vast ocean, unsure of what lay beneath the surface. "What if love costs us something?" one villager questioned, eyes darting between the familiar faces around her. "What if it asks for our comfort or our time?" But isn't that the beauty of love?" Daniel interjected, his brow furrowed, but his spirit soaring. "True love never remains easy, yet it is in those trials that we grow. Like seeds sprouting under the weight of the earth, only by facing challenges do we reach the light." In that moment, inspiration pulsed through the group like a current. As they began to share their thoughts, stories spilled forth, accounts of hardship turned to hope, moments when love had guided them through the darkest valleys. Each story became a thread weaving them closer together. Sarah listened intently, her heart swelling with gratitude. "In each of our lives, we carry the opportunity to extend love," she said softly, "to our neighbors, to those in need. Let us dream together. How can we manifest this love in our village?" A spark lit in Daniel's eyes. "What if we start with simple acts? We could gather food for those who are struggling, or offer our hands to help those needing support with home repairs." His words were met with nods of agreement. One by one, others joined in with their ideas: a community garden, visiting the elderly, offering prayer gatherings for those seeking refuge. As the suggestions moved through the crowd, the air thickened with a palpable energy. Excitement surged, and Sarah could see the glimmers of hope dancing in everyone's eyes. They began to envision the awakening of their village through love, but it was also clear that love would demand vulnerability. How would they navigate this responsibility? "Let us form a plan," Sarah suggested, a smile breaking across her face. "We can meet here again tomorrow. We'll create a vision for the steps to take." As the villagers started to disperse, a serene presence lingered in the grove. The sun hung low, casting a gentle glow that provided a soothing embrace upon them. Each villager held a piece of the secret they had just begun to unfold. But just then, a rustle in the bushes caught Sarah's attention. A flicker of movement made her heartbeat quicken. Everyone paused, their conversations fading, eyes darting toward the source. The sense of anticipation hung thick. What could be emerging from the shadows? Indeed, in that very moment, the stillness broke, and with it, perhaps another revelation awaited them. Would this encounter bring light to their burgeoning love, or would it challenge everything they thought they knew about their quest? As the sun dipped below the horizon, fears and hopes intertwined, inviting them to witness what came next. From the shadows, a figure emerged, cloaked in a shroud woven from the twilight. It stepped hesitantly into the clearing, revealing an elderly woman with deep lines etched into her weathered face. Her hair, silver and wispy, caught the last rays of the sun, glimmering like the stars that were ready to awaken in the night sky. The villagers exchanged glances, uncertainty hanging in the air as the woman slowly approached. "Do not be afraid," she spoke, her voice a soft melody that seemed to resonate with the very essence of the grove. "I am known as Mara, a wanderer and a keeper of stories. I have come to share a truth with you." Sarah felt an inexplicable pull toward Mara and stepped forward, guided not only by curiosity but also by an inner warmth that felt like an invitation. "What truth do you bear?" she asked gently, her heart racing with anticipation. Mara smiled, and her eyes sparkled with wisdom. "You seek to understand love, a noble pursuit. But love, dear ones, is a power beyond what you grasp. It flows like a river and can heal, transform, and even exalt. However, it demands honesty and courage, for there lies the key to its transformative power." The villagers leaned in, captivated by her presence. Sarah felt a chill run down her spine as Mara paused, surveying them with an intensity that seemed to pierce through their doubts. I have witnessed many seeking to spread love, but few truly understand how to wield its marvelous gifts. Love is a mirror. It reflects back to you what you give. Are you ready to embrace its full depth? A silence followed her words, as thoughts began to swirl in the hearts of each villager. Daniel was the first to break the stillness. What must we do? How can we become vessels for this kind of love? Mara's eyes softened, and she pointed to the grove, now bathed in twilight hues. Begin by cultivating seeds of kindness and compassion, not as isolated actions, but as a way of life. Share your joys and burdens in community. For every hand that you extend, you will find love returns to you tenfold. Nervous murmurs rippled through the group. Questions lingered. What if their efforts were not enough? What if they faced rejection? But as they exchanged glances, the embers of doubt began to flicker and fade. Think of love as a fire, Mara continued, her voice low and soothing. When you kindle it, it illuminates your path. But when you keep it hidden, it withers in the dark. Share your stories, your gifts, your very selves, for therein lies the secret of love's miraculous manifestation. Hope ignited in the hearts of the villagers. Their doubts began to dissipate like morning mist as they remembered the connection they shared. Sarah felt an electric surge through her being. Loving with abandon required time and heart, yes, but perhaps even more, it required transparency of spirit and authenticity in community. Let us remember this, Sarah intoned, echoing Mara's wisdom. We will not hide. We will not retreat. We will love one another boldly and work tirelessly to uplift our village. Mara nodded approvingly, stepping back as if to allow the villagers to absorb her words fully. Be vigilant. The path to manifesting love is rarely without challenges. And as you walk together, the enemy may seek to sow doubt among you. Just then, an unexpected gust of wind swept through the grove, causing leaves to rustle in a choral whisper. Mara stood tall, her eyes narrowing slightly. It is an invitation and opportunity. You are on the brink of a powerful transformation. The atmosphere shifted, charged with unseen potential. What awaited the villagers on this journey? Would they confront the hurdles that lay ahead together, or would fear creep in, dimming the light they sought to spread? With a soft smile, Mara turned back toward the forest, her silhouette growing faint. Cherish love, wield it wisely, and trust in its power. The true journey begins from this moment, and the world is waiting. The villagers looked at one another, sensing the weight of the moment. Would they rise to the occasion? In the fading light, the grove felt electric with promise, and uncertainty curled in the corners of their hearts. What would they discover as they stepped forward into the night, strengthened by their shared resolve? As the first stars twinkled overhead, they could almost hear the gentle hum of love calling them into the depths of the unknown. What awaited them in this mystical journey of love? As darkness embraced the village of Honeywood, Sarah and the villagers gathered, hearts racing with the wisdom shared by Mara. A fire crackled nearby, its warm glow illuminating their faces, reflecting determination mingled with uncertainty. We stand at the threshold of something magnificent, Sarah began, her voice ringing with resolve. We carry love within us, and it's time to unleash it to transform our community. The villagers nodded, a newfound urgency igniting their spirits. But how? Daniel asked, his brow creased with curiosity. What tangible steps do we take to embody this love? As Mara said, we start by being honest and open, Sarah replied, her eyes sweeping across her friends. Let us open our hearts and share our stories, our experiences. When we hold on to our struggles, we dilute love's power. But when we speak, we weave connections that uplift everyone. With that, a ripple of encouragement surged through the crowd. Standing together, they shared their stories, vulnerabilities interlaced with hope. Some spoke of personal losses, others of dreams yet to be fulfilled. Each tale became a thread in a vibrant tapestry, binding their spirits closer. It's time to act, Sarah declared, her voice filled with energy. Let us create a community event a day to celebrate love, compassion, and kindness. We'll invite everyone to share their gifts, and we'll gather donations for those in need. We must show that love can manifest in countless ways. The villagers erupted in cheers, their hearts soaring with inspiration. "We'll organize it as a festival, a love feast," shouted a cheerful villager from the back, causing laughter to circle the group. Plans materialized, dreams ignited, and hope crystallized as they considered all they could achieve together. Days melted into each other as the festival took shape. The village square blossomed with vibrant colors, flowers adorned every corner, and laughter echoed in the air. As the sun rose on festival day, Sarah felt the familiar flutter of anticipation in her heart. This was their moment, not just to celebrate, but to live the love they had found in each other. The morning sun bathed everything in golden light. Sarah looked around, noting the joyful expressions of her friends as they set up tables laden with food, handmade crafts, and baskets overflowing with donations. There was a spirit of unity that had never been felt before, and it felt divine. As the villagers gathered, Sarah stepped onto a makeshift stage, her voice ringing out like a beacon. "Welcome, dear friends. Today, we come together not only to enjoy each other as company, but to share in the love that we have cultivated through faith and vulnerability. Today, we rise as one body. Each of us plays a unique part in this beautiful song." The crowd erupted in applause, excitement palpable. Daniel stood beside her, holding her hand tightly. "Let love be our guiding star today and every day," he added, his voice resonating with assurance. "Each act we perform today will echo through our community, filling every heart with hope." As the festival unfolded, villagers exchanged gifts, laughter, and heartfelt hugs. They enjoyed music and storytelling, transforming the gathering into a grand celebration of love. Children danced joyfully, their laughter twinkling like the stars above. Each interaction became a prayer, a manifestation of the love that flowed freely and abundantly. As the sun dipped low, casting hues of orange and pink across the sky, Sarah felt a pull within her once more. She called for attention, her voice steady with purpose. "In this moment, we witness what love can ignite. Let us take a moment to reflect on how we can continue to cultivate this spirit beyond this day." In perfect synchrony, the villagers bowed their heads in reverence, grounding their hearts in gratitude. Sarah led the prayer, inviting everyone to pour their hearts into the moment, thanking God for the love they had discovered and seeking guidance for how to carry it forward. And then, as they emerged from their prayer, a soft wind blew through the square. Gentle and soothing, carrying with it whispers of promise. In that moment, Sarah felt a wave of undeniable peace wash over her. The love they had nurtured within their community was transcendent, powerful enough to break barriers and unite hearts. As the stars began to twinkle above, illuminating the night sky, each villager left with their heart fully open, souls warmed by the shared experience. Love had not just filled their gathering, it had transformed their identities. As we embrace our individual journeys, let us remember the lessons we've learned, Daniel said quietly beside her. In every act of kindness, in every heartfelt moment, let us keep our hearts entwined. Let us be patient, supportive, and committed to this sacred calling. In the days that followed, the spirit of the festival lingered in Honeywood. Acts of love spread throughout the village, from dropped-off meals for the sick to kind words shared between neighbors. They inspired one another to dream bigger, to love deeper. Through every challenge and triumph, they carried the secret of love within them, allowing it to blossom and multiply. Every person in Honeywood was part of the divine dance of faith, where miracles emerged from open hearts. God's love resonated like a symphony, uniting all in a sacred embrace of life. As time passed, Sarah often reflected on that fateful moment when Mara walked into their lives, a true turning point that opened the door to unimaginable blessings. They had embraced love, and in doing so, unlocked the miraculous secrets that would carry them forward in faith. And so, dear brothers and sisters, as you journey through your life, may you also discover the endless possibilities that unfold when hearts unite in love. May you recognize the power residing within, wait for the spark that ignites hope, and carry it into the world. This is just the beginning. Let us continue to discover the miraculous secrets together. You need to subscribe now to not miss the next exclusive faith stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm. Your support matters. Comment your reactions and testimonies about how love has transformed your lives. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of love. True servants of God understand the importance of sharing the light.